You're an intellectual also too, Professor Usman. And I'm sure that, and I'm happy you also belong to the minority of the people who understand the problems in the northern part of the country mainly are social and cannot be solved militarily, but will have to be solved by a combination of solutions, which I hope you will help expatiate a little on while you're here. When you look at the data, which has been coming in for several years in the northern part of the country, Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world, understandably, but the numbers of the poor people in northern Nigeria is 3 times more than what you have in the southern part of the country. The northwest, you'll find endemic poverty, and those numbers have continued to rise for several years. These are socioeconomic issues which are tied to directly, I'm sure you know, with the insecurity happening, in several parts of the country by the dimension where you have people who are out of school or people who are living in extreme multidimensional poverty. The governors of the states in the northern parts of the country have spaces where they call ungoverned areas all around, which have been exploited by the criminal elements and non-state actors. The Northern Elders Forum, how have you been able to tell the governors and let them understand that the lack of governance in many parts of their state has created a breeding ground for criminal elements?
Right, and so over 60–70% of the problems in this country that people are blaming the president on are caused by governors, all 36 states. All 36 states, they are pharaohs. It's not the president that will build hospitals. It's not the president that will build roads. It's not the president that will build schools. But governors do whatever they want with the money. And all governors have emasculated local governments. So the 774 or 740 local governments are just on paper. So when governance does not go into the villages, into the people, that is the foundation of governance, there will be poverty, there will be drug abuse, there will be the temptation to go into drugs, there will be unemployment. And this is not limited to the north. This is all over. Ungoverned spaces, isn't there where the ESN and IPOB are hiding now in the forest? They're not hiding in the cities. And we call them ungoverned because the government has ceded that place to criminals. Be they Boko Haram or bandits or cultists or kidnappers or IPOB ESN, all across the country. So the biggest problems are governors are not taking responsibility for their jobs. They really are not. They are failing. A governor will finish his 8 years. You tell me, how many of the 36 governors will finish their 8-year term and live in the state with the people? You finish 8 years. You don't feel safe to stay with your people. That tells you a lot. Even the richest states, the idea of governors to the governors, and I see that to the federal government too, is concrete and mortar, building flyovers and bridges, instead of investing in human capital. Leaders of our time invested in us. We didn't have flyovers, we didn't have tarmacs in the cities, but they invested in us, we're able to become productive citizens. But governors all across the 36 states build flyovers and roads, then underneath those are poverty and out-of-school children, and children laying on the homeless people who are selling akara, who are selling, it's all over this country. It's just a matter of magnitude. And insecurity worsens the economic situation. There is insecurity, how can people live a normal life? How can people go to their farm? Cattle have been rustled. Businesses have been burnt. The same story in the southeast. Stay at home Monday. They're pauperizing people. So wherever you have insecurity is directly related to poor economic situation and worsening situation and worsening security. That is why I tell the government time and again, we are over-militarizing security. Poverty is a security issue. The price of food is a security issue. 2014, the price of 50 kilograms of rice used to be 7,000. Now it's going up to 40,000. Rice is out of the reach of the common man. How much is the minimum wage? 18, 30,000, that is in states that pay. That is in people that have jobs. Rice is out of reach of the common man, and the children go to school. That is, in those who are fortunate to go to school, they're out there unemployed. What do they resort to? They resort to drugs, or they resort to being informants for bandits, or they become yahoo, or they become cultists. It's all across this country that we all carried the pregnancy and gave birth called banditry and terrorism. And that's exactly, if you do not invest in people, it will come to haunt you. A time will come when all of us will be IDPs in big cities. We cannot go back to our ancestral homes. Tell me, how many Igbo elites can go back home to Christmas, back to their villages, like they used to before when we were young? How many of us can go back to our ancestral homes? We're all IDPs in big cities, in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, or in Abuja. This thing will catch up with us, all of us, if we don't do the right thing. We have a role to play as elders. This is what we found out. In all the 6 geopolitical zones, elders have lost control of their youth. In the Northwest, we Fulanis have lost control of our youth. That's why Fulani kids are bandits. In the Northeast, Kanuri elders have lost control of their youth. That's why Kanuri kids are Boko Haram. And in the Southeast, the same thing. Igbo elders have lost control of their youth. That's why youths that were born long after the Civil War want to destroy this country again. And we saw that in Lagos during NSAS, when these kids went berserk and burnt everywhere and ransacked the palace of Oba of Lagos. There was not a single Yoruba elder that could call them to order. So elders must come in. That is why we in the Northwest, we are doing our part. We are coming in and doing our part. We risk our lives. We went into the forest in 8 states, not at the behest of any government, but to find peace. And everybody must come in and do his part. Absolutely. We are in serious trouble in this country. If there is problem here, insecurity here is insecurity everywhere. Poverty here is poverty everywhere.